Hello and welcome to my channel, your go-to source for the latest in WWE 24. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for all the updates. Let's dive right in.
WWE SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis had something to say, as he let a star know that he did not have a place on WrestleMania this year. He officially declared that as of now, there was no way that the star would be competing at the biggest show of the year, much to the dismay of the star. Nick Aldis has officially told a WWE SmackDown star that he is not part of WrestleMania. Sami Zayn's run into WrestleMania this year has been somewhat devastating. The star lost his chance to win the WWE title, not able to show that he could do it, despite his best attempts. Instead, since then the star has turned bitter and made clear that he is unhappy with the whole situation. He has tried to remain a positive force in the company, but that has just not worked, with his bitterness coming out when talking to Cody Rhodes and others backstage. Tonight, Nick Aldis told Trick Williams that the star had a place at WrestleMania. An eager Zayn then asked what about him, and if he too had a place, but that was not the answer that was waiting for him. Nick Aldis told Zayn that the star was not going to be a part of WrestleMania this year, and that it was valuable real estate where stars with momentum had to compete, or stars with titles, both of which Zayn lacked this year. You're a major asset to SmackDown. You know that. But things have not been going your way lately. We are talking about WrestleMania. Championships need to be defended. This is valuable real estate. Guys with momentum. And look, I'm sorry, but unless something changes, I don't have a spot for you right now. I'm sorry. Zayn attacked Trick Williams after the star mocked him after this, and said that he knew a way that he could be a part of WrestleMania, leaving Aldis looking worried at just what he was planning. The road to WrestleMania is supposed to be paved with dreams, redemption, and career-defining opportunities. But for one WWE SmackDown superstar, that road came to a sudden, heartbreaking end, delivered not in the chaos of the ring, but in the cold, authoritative tone of General Manager Nick Aldis. In a moment that sent shockwaves through the WWE universe, Aldis made it official. One of SmackDown's most determined stars would not be part of WrestleMania. No last-minute qualifiers. No second chances. Just a firm, final decision. And just like that, a dream was shattered. The moment that changed everything. Backstage on SmackDown, tensions were already running high. Superstars were scrambling for their spots on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. The locker room buzzed with anticipation, anxiety, and ambition. That's when the unnamed star, who had been campaigning for weeks for a WrestleMania match, approached Nick Aldis. The cameras caught everything. Aldis stood calm, composed, hands folded behind his back. The superstar, on the other hand, was visibly emotional, pleading their case. They spoke about hard work, sacrifices, and the journey that brought them to this moment. They reminded Aldis and the fans of the battles they fought, the injuries they overcame, and the loyalty they showed to the brand. For a brief second, it almost felt like Aldis might reconsider. But then came the words that changed everything. You're not on the WrestleMania card. No anger. No hesitation. Just a decision. A ruthless era of leadership. Since taking control of SmackDown, Nick Aldis has built a reputation as a no-nonsense authority figure. Unlike some general managers of the past, Aldis doesn't let emotions dictate his decisions. He values structure, merit, and, above all, what's best for business. And in his eyes, WrestleMania isn't just an event. It's a showcase of the absolute best. That means not everyone makes the cut, even if it hurts, even if it's controversial, even if it leaves a deserving superstar watching from the sidelines. Aldis didn't raise his voice. He didn't insult the superstar. In fact, his tone remained almost respectful. But the message was clear. SmackDown is evolving, and only those who meet the highest standard will represent the brand at WrestleMania. The superstar's emotional response. The reaction was immediate and heartbreaking. The superstar stood frozen for a moment, as if trying to process what they had just heard. Their WrestleMania dream, something they had fought for their entire career, was slipping away in real time. Then came the frustration. They questioned Aldis. They challenged his decision. They even hinted at favoritism, pointing out how other superstars had been given opportunities despite inconsistent performances. But Aldis didn't budge. "You had your chances," he replied. That line hit harder than any finishing move, because deep down, the superstar knew it was true. A career defined by missed opportunities? For this SmackDown star, this wasn't just about WrestleMania. It was about legacy. WrestleMania moments define careers. They create icons. They turn rising stars into legends. Missing out on that spotlight can feel like falling behind in a race you've been running your entire life. And that's what makes this situation so devastating. This superstar isn't a rookie. They've paid their dues. They've delivered memorable matches. They've earned the respect of the WWE Universe. But sometimes, respect isn't enough. Sometimes, timing and opportunity means everything. A locker room reacts. Word spread quickly throughout the SmackDown locker room. Some superstars were shocked. Others weren't surprised at all. A few privately agreed with Aldis's decision, believing that WrestleMania spots should be reserved for those currently at the top of their game. Others felt the decision was too harsh, arguing that passion and dedication should count for something. Even veterans weighed in, with one unnamed superstar reportedly saying, "WrestleMania isn't fair. It never has been, and it never will be." That statement perfectly sums up the brutal reality of WWE. The fans speak out. The WWE Universe wasted no time making their voices heard. Social media exploded with reactions. Some fans supported Nick Aldis, praising him for maintaining high standards and refusing to hand out opportunities based on sympathy. Others were furious. They accused WWE of overlooking talent, of favoring certain stars over others, of denying a hardworking performer their rightful moment on the biggest stage. Hashtags began trending. Debates erupted. And suddenly, what started as a backstage conversation turned into one of the most talked about moments on the road to WrestleMania. Is this really the end? In WWE, nothing is ever truly final. Yes, Nick Aldis made his decision. Yes, the superstar is officially excluded from WrestleMania. But this is a company built on unpredictability. Could there be a last-minute twist? Could an injury, a storyline development, or a shocking return open the door? Or will this rejection become the catalyst for something even bigger? Because sometimes, being denied a moment is what fuels the fire needed to create one. A possible breaking point. There's also another possibility, one that could have major consequences for SmackDown. What if this superstar doesn't accept the decision? What if they refuse to be sidelined? WWE history is filled with moments where overlooked stars took matters into their own hands. Crashing matches, interrupting segments, forcing their way into the spotlight. Could we see something similar here? If so, Nick Aldis may have unintentionally created a much bigger problem than he anticipated. The bigger picture. This situation highlights a deeper truth about WWE. Opportunities are limited. Talent is abundant. And not everyone gets their moment. Nick Aldis's decision may seem harsh, but it reflects the competitive nature of the business. Every superstar is fighting for the same goal, and sometimes, even the most deserving individuals fall short. But that doesn't mean their story is over. In fact, this could be just the beginning of a new chapter. What comes next? For the excluded superstar, the road ahead is uncertain. Do they accept the decision and regroup? Do they channel their frustration into proving Aldis wrong? Or do they take a more aggressive approach, forcing their way back into the conversation? Whatever they choose, one thing is clear. This moment will define them. Not the rejection itself, but how they respond to it. Nick Aldis stands firm. As for Nick Aldis, he remains unwavering. He knows his decision will be criticized. He knows fans won't agree, but that doesn't matter to him. Because in his mind, he's doing what's best for SmackDown. And if that means making tough calls, so be it. Final thoughts. WrestleMania is a stage where dreams come true, but it's also a place where dreams are denied. For one SmackDown superstar, The journey to WrestleMania has come to a painful halt, courtesy of Nick Aldis. Yet in WWE, rejection often leads to reinvention. And sometimes, the stars who miss WrestleMania end up stealing the spotlight in ways no one ever expected. So while this chapter may end in disappointment, the story is far from over.